Okay.
There
Good
you are.
morning.
Good
Hi,
morning.
Tammy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Julie? We missed you. We missed you
Well,
last week.
I
Glad to have
yeah,
you back.
I missed coming, but I was just saying, oh, okay, so wait, it's Tuesday, November 30th, and this is Two Psychic Moms. I'm Julie Hawkins, the Biz Psychic. This is Tammy Langowski of Tammy's Intuitive Services. And together we are Two Psychic Moms, and we come and do this every Tuesday where we answer your questions about really literally anything in the world or out of the world
Yeah.
um, that isn't really personal to you, like everybody could benefit from it, right? Okay, so at last week, hi Tammy, welcome again.
Thank you.
Last week, I got, because I'm over a certain age, I think everybody knows that, but I got the second injection for my Shingrix vaccination, so I don't ever get shingles. We were just talking about that before we went live. And I just felt like a truck had hit me, like I literally had the flu, and I stayed in bed all day. So I had that Monday, and it hit Monday night, and by Tuesday I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I was not there. But then, and honestly, it took me a few days to kind of be back to my normal self. And the pharmacist said that. He's like, it might take a few days, but because I got it Monday, he said, but by Thanksgiving, you should be fine. And he was right.
Oh, good. Well, that was good timing then for you in that way. So that's good.
So vaccinations, vaccinations,
I
vaccinations.
know. No
Get them when you
kidding.
can. It's better than getting the alternative. So
Yeah, yeah. Going for my booster today, so I'm very excited about that to get that done. Not that I
go
like
boost, go
injections,
boost,
mind
go
you,
boost.
but I'm excited about getting it.
There's this Omicron. So I've
Yeah.
literally been trying to stay out of the news so that I don't see or hear anything about any of this, because one of our questions today, well, before we start in the questions, is there anything that you want to say? Because I
Not
dropped a
really.
mic this
I
morning.
mean, yeah, no, that's good. I think Julie covered everything from our intro. So obviously we like to share channel messages, and that's what we're going to be doing. There's a couple of questions that we're going to address for you today that were sent to us. So thank you in advance for those who did so. So do you want to start with any particular one, Julie, or do you?
I think I'll go to this one first and read Rudy's. And Rudy knows we always call him by Rudy knows we always call him by
Yeah.
name. All right, and I have to read it from my phone. I apologize. So that's why I'm looking away here. All right, so do the guides see a time in our current lifetime where our two-party political system will change into something that really represents the views of the people, like whole new parties? Wait. They said to me, why do you think they don't represent the views of the people?
And Julie, can I interrupt 1 second? What did he say right at the end? What was the very last part? I didn't hear that again.
Like, and he said whole, but I'll call it entire. It'll just make sense more, like entire new systems, or I sorry, entire new parties. So
Okay.
right now, our two main parties are Republican and Democrats. And sometimes there's others like Green parties and, independents. We have actually a big population of independents. And so this is actually a good segue. So I'm like, why do you, they said to me, why do you think they don't represent the views of everybody? We think, shall I go off and run with that?
Yeah, go for it.
We think that they do. There are changes afoot. So funny when they say things I would never say. And transitions are in flux. I mean, this is what's happening. You see lots of things changing in your political world, your political system. It's so funny because I have to tell you personally, I'm really resisting this topic. And I'm like moving this way, and I'm trying to let them in to talk about it because I really don't want to talk about it. But so I'm just gonna be quiet for a moment, move over a little bit more and let them go for it. First of all, you are right where you are meant to be, all of you. Change happens slowly and rapidly and in between. It is incremental and it is massive. It really depends on what you are talking about. It depends on what the topic is. It depends on where you are in your economic, socio-political, sociological place in your world and in your country per se. So you currently have what we will call two main political systems. And if you look back historically, there was a time and that Democrats, like in the time of Lincoln, and this is sort of my take on this as well as theirs, Democrats were really what Republicans kind of were of 30 years ago, and Republicans were the progressive party. Okay, so I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say, it's really not a limb, that most of the people who watch and listen to this are fairly progressive in that they're open-minded and they want what's best for themselves and the world around them. Okay, that's a fairly progressive notion, as opposed to a capitalistic notion, which is, yeah, I want to go out and make all this money. It's all for me, and I'll share it with whom I want to share it with. Okay, so sort of the difference there between what is good for most people versus what's good for generally just a few. All right. So your parties, to go back to the question, which is, will there be a time where these parties will represent the views of all the people? That's a generalization, and we're going to say, yes, they're morphing, they are transforming. And this has happened throughout your history. It's the way of the human being, right? So what you label it, what you call those parties, that may change, that may be something new. But to go out a little bit further and say, is this going to happen? We're going to say, oh my gosh, you're not going to like this. We're going to say maybe, because we know there is a push with so much in the state of flux to start new parties, at least a new party for the more conservative right, who are not radical right or extreme right, okay, who have what you might consider more traditional conservative, what used to be considered Republican values. No longer that case because of your former president, Trump. And the left, that you would consider liberal or progressive, which are considered Democrats, they are they just said to me they're confused.
That's funny.
I thought that was really funny. They're confused about where to go and how to deal with these things. So if they could just focus on the issues and the other ones could just, we don't know about the other ones. They're confused too. Everybody's confused.
Yeah.
And so out of confusion, order will arise. Oh, it's the way of the universe. Out of confusion, order arises. It does. It is a natural law of the universe for order to evolve out of chaos. Will it be anytime soon might be your next question. And we say that over the next 20 to 30 years, you're going to see this evolution take place, where it is more centered on traditional, no, we're not going to use that word because that means different things to different people, where it's more centered on people who are focused on the greater amount of people in society rather than the few. Doesn't mean capitalism won't reign. There will always be a battle between capitalism and the desire to help those who are less fortunate. Let's see, did that answer most of that? In the next few years, the next 5 to 10 years, what are you doing? I don't like that. That was weird. I thought she was going to spray me. You know, they shake their tail.
That would have been interesting. Yeah. Oh, that's the adoration quiver, but you know that.
The what?
The adoration quiver. I read that in a book one time and I loved
Really?
it. Adoration
We'll have to
quiver.
talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
Anyway, so to end this part of our talk about this, we'll say that everything is moving and people are in confusion, and clarity will come out of that and order will come out of that. And you may see a new party, at least towards what you people consider the right. Okay. But really, we're going to say it's more towards the middle. All right. And you may see that really be pushed and motivated to happen over the next 5 years. Well, I have no idea what they said, so I'm going to hand it over to Tam.
Good. No, all good information. Thank you for that. I always start out by saying I'm not very political, and I'm really not. But I'm going to address this question. Love the tail. And just see what I just open up, because I'm really not. I'm just not politically smart, you know. So I'll just see what I get for that. But Julie, I hate to ask you to read that again for me. I always feel better when I hear the question again, and then I can kind of connect to the energy of it.
So here we go. Do you see a time in our current lifetime, so we'll say the next 20 to 30 years,
Yeah.
Where our two-party political system will change into something that represents the views of the people, perhaps entirely new parties?
Okay. Thank you. Okay, what I first hear is it will happen. Meaning there will be some sort of, like Julie was saying, maybe a new party coming in or something like that, because it's inevitable and it's bound to happen, is what I'm hearing. Change is good. And they're chuckling. Oh, I have somebody that's humorous with me today, or just give me more humor. I saw I'm actually chuckling. Okay, so there will be more of a union, and as with everything that has progressed, as things have progressed in your world in many different arenas, this too will change. People want to see change. Humans want to see the change. They don't like being put into a certain pigeonholed into something necessarily, because the world, they're showing me the world is going around them very swiftly. And here's this political divide still sitting here. And it's outdated. They just said it's outdated. And so that's why we're seeing more of the ideas of more change in political parties or additions to it. Maybe, I think you mentioned too, Julie, about like independence becoming, there's a lot more people becoming independents and voting as such. For example. So there is going to be more of this as a result. And they're showing me, boy, it's like, oh, it's hard to get through that energy of all of this. It's hard to make some of those changes. But, you know, unlike other things that we've been able to do and we've been able to progress, this one's, you know, feet dug in and sides, and my side's better than the other side. And it's so much of this that it's very hard to get through this thick, they're showing me this thick energy. But indeed, it breaks through. And then there are more options. As with anything, things become popular. Have you noticed? They just said, they said, have you noticed? Things become popular in your world. And people jump on that bandwagon because they like the popularity of it. It's an energy. It's not a bad thing. They're not even judging it. They're just kind of saying that that happens. So I think in the political arena, from what they're showing me, that sort of same thing might be happening. And I think to what Julie said, that, I mean, it's going to be out there a ways. It's certainly not something overnight, but certainly the change is already coming in the direction to try to include more views. They're not even showing me like bringing everybody together. It's more to include all views, so that basically it is, I guess, bringing more people together as a result. But that's kind of where the direction that I'm seeing that going. It's going to take time. There's still going to be battles. Your media has a lot to do with that too. And, highlighting what it wants to highlight is what they're saying. And so be aware of that, be very, very aware of that, and not to get too sucked into, this is not me saying, by the way, this is them saying this, not to get too sucked into what the media is choosing to show you. Because there are two sides to every story, and both sides have something of value. More people are going to come to that understanding, is what I see, that both sides do have value. And then they see that as more that just makes sense. I see them scratching their head like, like that just makes sense, that we come together more and we decide pulling in different ideas. That's going to benefit all of us, but they have to really a system has to be set up. I use the word system because I'm not, again, I'm not politically, I don't know. My brain isn't there for politics. I don't know the correct wordage, but they're just saying it. We would say in time, yes. So we would say in time, to wrap this up, they're saying in time, yes, we do feel that this will happen. And what can we do? I want to ask, what can we do to help that along? Be open-minded is what I just heard. Be open-minded, and to not shut the door on one side or another, because the reality is you won't get anywhere if you do that. And people are starting to become a little bit more open to hearing both sides. Not everybody, of course, and it's going to take time, but thank you. That's what we have for you.
Beautiful, beautiful, perfect. And you did great. I mean, politically, it was perfect. So thank
you for that.
Yeah. I mean, our guides don't take sides. They don't care.
Yeah. They're just kind of reading what they feel is, they can see or is likely to happen from where the energy is going right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
Good question, and thank you for that, Rita.
It was. And we like controversial questions. It helps people to evolve and think, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the whole idea. All right. So we have one other question today. Do you want to read that one?
Sure. So the other question was, what will COVID be like in 2022? Better or worse for travel on plane for vaccinated seniors? Yeah, so that's kind of a specific question, and then sort of an open question to that. So it's a great question. You want to start, Julie?
Yeah, so we will take the first part of that, which is the bigger question. What will COVID be like in 2022? We've talked about this a lot.
Yeah.
We truly have. We have talked about this. So how I got started channeling was because as this began to hit in, where are we, 2021, technically the end of 2019, but going into 2020. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
They were saying to me, this is going to be big, different, and you need to start getting this information out. And I was very, very resistant to doing this. And they kept at me until I held my own personal call for my group, my database in, I think it was May. And what my guys came out and said in May was what they had told me earlier at the beginning of the year, when I had asked them, how long is this going to last? And they said, 3 years. And I went, what, huh, what?
Yeah.
And I said, okay, let me see if I can get a little bit more precise. How long will it last from where we were pre-pandemic to where we feel like we're kind of back to that place after all the worst part is over and most things are back to normal, what we used to be normal? And they said, yeah, 3 years. So as we head into 2022, we're heading into the third year. They just said to me, that has not changed. It will still continue. You are seeing this now with a new variant, something called Omicron or something. I don't know what they called it. I personally have really worked to try not listen to that because I don't want to influence anything. And I don't know what it is or what it's about. But so what they are saying is this is, you're looking at the small picture here. We want you to look at the big picture. This is a new mutation of a virus that will be here. This virus is not going anywhere. It eventually will be managed. You will learn to manage it much like you do your colds and your flus and other viruses for which you get vaccines for, those of you who choose to get vaccines. So it's not really ever, we don't see it going away I mean, even in the next 10 years, we don't see it going away. It will just be managed. You will continue to get your vaccinations and your boosters. That is what this is. In terms, so think of it that way. Had it been handled differently from the beginning, they're like, why are we bothering to say that? Because it doesn't matter, it wasn't, and we don't go back and second guess those things. So as far as travel and planes, as far as any of this relates to this virus and anything, it's always going to be a ad hoc decision made by your government health advisors, right? Your CDC, your institutes of health, whatever they're all called. And so travel may be good at some points and travel may then slow down at some points. What we can say to you is it's going to be the state of flux, kind of up and down with travel. Sometimes it will be allowable and good, and other times it will be, okay, no, these are the rules around this. This is where you can't go. This is what you have to do. It will just be a constant up and down motion, all right? And this is really going to last throughout 2022. As we head towards the end of 2022, it will be a little bit more normalized. You'll feel a greater sense of what you like to call normalization. So if you're talking about travel plans, go follow the guidance, be flexible, and take the proper precautions to make sure you are safe, correct? I have visitors.
I hear.
That would be Felix.
Chirping in, chiming in.
There's Bella saying, oh wait, this is my time. Okay, so we'll hand that over to Tammy for now, and while I get my situation under control here, and if we have anything else to add to that, we will, but take it away, Tammy.
Yeah, so I will go into what will COVID be like in 2022. What I'm hearing, it's going to be about the same as it is now. It won't change a whole lot. There is still concerns, as we know, and Julie was speaking of, and what we're hearing now with, like we said, this new variant coming out and all that. But it does feel like it will remain about the same. There are periods of time where you feel comfortable, and then there's times when you will be concerned. So Yeah, it's like you said, it's kind of that roller coaster, right? I mean, that we've kind of been on is what I'm hearing. Uh, will it be better or worse for travel on planes for vaccinated seniors? Will it be better, guys, in the new year for travel? More of the same. I keep getting that. So it's going to be similar to what it has been, but more information has already helped. So, meaning there's, like was said, there's more restrictions, there's more things that we have to do to be careful, obviously wearing masks on the plane and that kind of thing. So it's not necessarily dangerous to travel on the plane during this time or for the next year. But at the same time, using your precautions, going with what is recommended and mandated actually is going to be fine. So would you say, guides, that I mean, it's kind of general to ask this, I guess, but is it okay for people to safely travel next year on planes with the COVID out there? They're hesitating just like that. They're going, and then they say, it's not necessarily recommended, but if you use common sense, they're saying, and using precautions and being careful, then you should be okay. That's what we will say. They're very cautious about it. I can tell even how they're bringing it in, because everybody, it's very individual. You can have the guy next to you who's not being so cautious and, isn't maybe putting down his mask. Yeah, there was a story of that. There's many stories of that, but I mean, yeah, I know somebody who had to say something to the passenger because he was using that. He took one of the snack chips. I'll just say he came on with snack chips purposely to sit down and eat, so he didn't have to put his mask up. And this person who told me this totally knew what he was doing. It was just so we wouldn't have to. Finally, I think the flight attendant did say something to him to put it on, or maybe this person did that told me this. Maybe they told him, asked if he would put it on, but he was definitely abusing it. So that's where they're using a little bit of caution, because most of you are going to follow the rules, for safety, and then there are those. But we would not say do not travel unless something changes, frankly, that we don't see. We are only going on what we are able to read at this time, and we know things can change, and it's not always easy for our guides to pinpoint things specifically because energy can change. But as of what I can get anyway right now, that's what I'm getting. So I'm going to say to in a nutshell, it's going to be about the same, similar to what you were getting there, Julie.
Here, thank you, Tammy. Yes, so I think we're about in the same place, which we often are. We concur. We do want to say, we want to reiterate how this works. This virus is so tenacious. Mm-hmm. It is smart and it is tenacious. And if you go back to our first talk about it, or second, I don't know, maybe second or third talk about this back in May of last year, you will hear us talking about how sorry, you guys, I'm really sorry.
Oh, it's cute.
How it's smart, and it will continue to poke hole. It will find the holes to make its way through. And they keep showing me this analogy, which is, how you have blinds, okay, or shade on your window, and you pull it down in the bright sun. Well, still there are places where the sun pokes through. That's what that virus does. It's like, oh, look, there's a little piece of light. We can poke through that and get through. And they do that. It's what the virus does. Mm-hmm. And it will find these little openings to come through and find its way, or it will mutate to a smaller version or a different version to find its way in. That's what it does. That's what we mean by being smart. It's very, very intelligent in that way. The only way to stop the virus is to stop the light, the openings, from coming in, to stop giving it a place or a host. And that's done through, if you believe in natural immunity and you want to take that risk, you can certainly do that. It will take a lot longer. It's done through vaccination, and it's done through the care of not transmitting it, not giving it an opening. That is the analogy. Do not give it an opening to come in. And all these ways of stopping that are through a mask, through vaccination, through hand sanitizing, through being careful and cautious. It stops giving an opening to the virus and its little offspring. That's what it is. It has little offspring. We are not there yet. We will not be there for a long time, but it will get better towards the end of next year.
Yeah.
And we will have moments of where it will get better.
Yeah.
But then we'll have roller coaster rides. So just reiterate. So we are cognizant of time. I'm going to let Tammy go back and see if there's any message for today from her guides, or breathing, or however you want to close us out. Remember to find us on Two Psychic Moms, to please like and to please share, and to get people to send us questions. We are there for you. We want to answer your questions. We're there for you.
Absolutely. Yes, do send us your questions. We love them. It's fun for us to be able to take something new too, and and take a look at it. So in closing, anything, guides, that we want to share with everybody that may be viewing, and any message for them? Just love yourself. That's what I heard. Really just dropped in. Just love yourself. It is time. It's time to get back to more self-care, more self-love, bringing sunshine into your life. And they mean that literally. Now, you may be living someplace where it's hard to get the sunshine. Then find it where you can, or I don't know, get some of those lamps or something that give you that simulation of sunlight. But they are saying that because really it's a healer. And of course, in moderation, go to the other extreme of too much sun, but you get our point. So we just want you to be aware and challenge yourself to find out what's going on with you. In doubt, in fear, in worry, what's going on? So take time to really sit with yourself. Meditation's a fabulous thing, or have other people help you out with it. That's what Julie and I do, and we're very honored to be in a position to be able to help people with questions like that. So just putting that in there as well. That's another avenue of that. But they're really just emphasizing self-care right now. And then again, the self-hug, making sure each morning, what a beautiful day. I don't care what's going on in your life. It's a beautiful day. And the love hug to start your morning.
Thank you, Tammy. That's beautiful. Yeah. I'm going to also just add, they said to me, where are you, either in self-judgment or in judgment of others? And instead of that, notice if that happens, where are you judging yourself for not being good enough, strong enough, fast enough, whatever it is, smart enough, beautiful enough, thin enough, strong enough, whatever it is. How about some acceptance of who you are today, and that you're meant to be exactly where you are? So noticing the judgment, whether it's self or others, and really coming in with some acceptance that we are all perfect as we are.
Lovely.
All right. Dear friends, thank you so much. We appreciate you. And until next time, we are Tammy and Julie, Two Psychic Moms, and you know how to find us by now, I think, right?
Take care. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.